beat the Georgia Bulldogs, you're gonna feel a bulldog.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thorne.
Boom, baby.
And this is show number 88.
Clark, number 88, the first regular season loss in Row 60 lore. And Clark, we've never done a show with a loss in Row 60 lore that the loss wasn't to anybody but Alabama.
Yep. Every time. Golly.
Every time, man. But there's a lot to be said about it. A lot of bad things, Clark. And we're not gonna put red and black glasses on and sugarcoat the bad things. But on the flip side, there's a lot of good things too that should still have you fired up for this football season, man. And Clark, you've talked a lot about it. You've been very realistic with your takes on this team, on what happened in Bryant-Denny Stadium Saturday night, man. And I can't wait to talk about it because there's a lot of good things that I think Georgia fans need to hear and how this could still be a very special season.
100%. Keep your heads up, folks.
That's right.
It's going to be a long week
Yep.
for us, especially if you watch a lot of TV or scroll on social media. I've already been hearing it. Alabama's the team, yada, yada, yada. And hats off. They played a heck of a game. Georgia played a heck of a game for a half.
Yeah.
And we're about to jump into that per usual. We've got Gameday Atmosphere. We've got a weekly Concession stands report. We've got Clark's not so fun
facts this week. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A little alternate to the Clark's fun facts. We're going to talk about what went good, what went bad in the Georgia-Alabama game. And then we're going to move on.
We're going to move on. We got to move on.
We do.
You have to move on.
Thankfully, I think Kirby and the team has already moved on. I mean, obviously, they're still reviewing some film and everything. But we as fans have to move on because we still have some really big games coming up, including this week, Georgia versus Auburn.
Woo,
the
man.
Deep South's oldest rivalry. And, guys, I'm just telling you, it's not a pushover opponent. And I know Auburn's not started off hot.
Yep.
And, yes, they look abysmal in some areas, but I'm going to tell you something. They're going to be ready to play.
They're going to be ready to play. They're going to be ready to play. Even though they haven't won in Athens since 2005, I believe, Clark, they're still going to be ready to play. And, I can't wait to get to that. So we can't overlook the fact that a historical rival, a hated rival like Auburn's coming to town now. And we got to turn the tide and just flip around, man, and get fired up for this Georgia-Auburn game. But let's revisit what happened, man. Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
It's going to be good for everybody to talk it out and just get it behind us, man, and continue because there's still a lot of football to be played.
Agreed, yeah. We're going to talk about a couple more games from last week. We got to pick them this week. And then, obviously, the game of the week to lighten the mood.
That's right. That's right. We need it. We need it. We need it.
Have we ever needed a game of the week more than we do now?
I don't think we have. I really don't. I really don't think we have. So, yeah. I mean, this is wild. This is the first time we have done a episode following a Georgia loss in the middle of the season, or not even the middle of the season, just in the first half of the season, and that's a blessing.
Yeah.
We're spoiled as a fan base, Clark, and it's ridiculous some of the takes these Georgia fans are having across social media platforms, message boards, and everything. It's almost like, did I read that? Did they really say that? It's stupid. It's stupid.
We are incredibly, incredibly spoiled. And I think a lot of Georgia fans, especially if you're new to Georgia football within the past few years, you don't know how to lose. And I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, or maybe I do.
Okay.
I just think people need to chill out,
Absolutely.
You're not going to win every single football game.
Absolutely.
Kirby Smart has us all spoiled, and we, I think, like I said, we've kind of forgotten how to lose, and man, that's a great feeling.
It is. It is. I agree. Well, let's dive into it, Clark. Well, I mean, we'll have a lot of comments about that and other things as we kind of go down the bullet points that you have listed for us here. So let's rock and roll with it, man. Just go ahead and let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. I do want to say this. Last Friday night, we had a live call-in show.
Yes, sir.
Adam, it was a great turnout, wasn't it?
Row 60 Nation did their part.
They did.
We did our part. We can put our heads down tonight knowing we did our part, right? So, And no, it was awesome. It was fun as always, man. These live call-in shows, I feel like just keep getting better and better.
Right.
And I love hearing from new callers each time. Love hearing from our family callers, Clark, the ones who are just been there from the beginning, man, and just everybody that calls in and just how everybody's fired up. It's my favorite thing that we do at Row 60 is a live call-in show.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue that, man. And, it's something that, hey, hopefully we have several more this season in regular season and in the postseason. And I think we have that coming down the line. We just got to keep our heads up with it, and still some good memories to be made this year, I feel like.
Yeah. Once we know a time for the Texas game, we may or may not do one that Friday night. Just logistically, we don't have all our plans worked out for that weekend yet. So, but I do think we'll try to make something
keep your ears
happen.
open.
Yeah,
keep your ears open.
Yeah. keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, keep your head on a swivel. Be looking and checking out. But yeah, I mean that's definitely the circle date for the next live call-in show, Clark. And I think it's going to be Georgia and Texas. This is putting the cart before the horse. Really talking about this, but I think it now really sets up instead of I think it was definitely going to be checked in as a 7:30 primetime kickoff, but now I think it's going to be a 3:30 kickoff on ABC leading into Alabama, Tennessee that night in Neyland Stadium. I mean, that's a heck of a doubleheader for ABC.
It is.
Hey, we'll get there. But, shoot, man.
I heard something about that specific Saturday. Somebody commented, they said, that is Judgment Day in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, truly,
without a
a
doubt,
lot's
man.
going to be decided
Without a doubt.
on that Saturday. Man. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. We can't start wishing away. If you're wishing away the next 2 weeks.
No, we can't do that.
You have the wrong mindset.
No, that's right.
This is college football season. You just soak it all up. Even gosh, I hate to say this. You got to soak up last night.
You do.
Georgia, Alabama, man. What a game. That was such a memorable game. For us Georgia fans, bad memories. For Alabama fans, good memories. But if you look at that, man, that's peak college football.
It is, man. I mean, it's what we love about college football, and it's something that, hey, what made our run, Clark, so great was because the losses that we endured so much growing up and before that, and thinking about how great it was to finally be national champions at the top of the game, have 3 straight 12-0 seasons, because you remembered the feeling of what it was like to see Georgia lose.
Right.
And you remember the feeling it was walking out of an opponent's stadium in the SEC and getting trash talk, man. And it's something that we hadn't had in a very long time, but having that feeling makes victory even sweeter. I know that sounds crazy. Yeah, you want to win every single time, but in a sense, in the SEC and how college football is, and really if you're a fan of any sports teams, enduring the hard times of your favorite team makes when those good times happen that much sweeter.
Exactly.
As a fan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. All right, let's go back to Saturday and talk about the game day atmosphere. We were there, boots on the ground. We always like to show up for you guys and give you guys sort of the fans' perspective. But Adam, I got to say, it was an incredible atmosphere from the time we got there to the time we left.
It was.
I've been to Tuscaloosa a couple times. This was my first time, though, on a game day. And I got to be honest, Adam, the tailgating scene was unreal. It was electric. And I would argue that it was better than the Grove.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The quad was better than the Grove, 100%.
I
agree with that too.
Yeah.
I've been to the Grove 2 times, I think. Yeah, this was my second time to Alabama, but like I said, the first time in 17 years. And I vividly remember the Grove, and vividly now obviously remember the quad, and I think the quad was better.
I do too. The Grove is maybe classier, right? You're going to see more upscale tailgating, but the quad at Alabama and Tuscaloosa, man, it's just so gigantic of a place that they go and tailgate, and there's tents everywhere. Just a lot of music, a lot of it's very crowded, but
it is
a lot
of
fun.
It is, and almost like, dang, I wish we had something like that.
I know.
In Athens to walk through, but yeah, I mean, it was hopping. By the time we got to Tuscaloosa around lunchtime, the whole campus was hopping, man. You could tell it had that big time SEC national matchup feel that probably started in Tuscaloosa on Friday and late in the week and carried on all day Saturday from game day on. Kind of one of those things, man. You kind of get that feeling where it's just not setting up good when you are the road team heading into that type of environment, and it was starting to brew early Saturday.
Mm-hmm. In terms of like inside the stadium, Bryant-Denny's a really cool stadium. I think any Georgia fan that if you didn't get to go this time, you should try to go in the future. It's a really fun place, I would say. I wouldn't say it's the noisiest place I've ever been.
No.
I think Neyland has gotten a lot louder. I think Auburn has actually gotten louder. South Carolina. I mean, several other places.
I agree.
But they do it right. the lights, the music. They do a great job creating a really cool atmosphere.
Tough environment to play in.
It is. God. It is. Every third down, you had Hell's Bells by AC/DC playing. That's pretty intimidating.
It was, man. It was a very intimidating venue, and they were ready for it. I mean, it was Georgia. Georgia's coming to town now, and it's different than when Georgia came to town for all these teams years ago, even though it was a big game then. But now it is seriously, the red carpet's being rolled out, and even in Tuscaloosa, they're pulling out all the stops, man. Everybody's fired up, all these on-campus events and everything, and it's just even added to a rowdy environment. It takes it up more of a notch in the sense of just rowdiness, because those silver breeches and white tops and red helmets are on the opposite sideline in their stadium.
Exactly. Yeah. We've had a huge target on our backs for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to beat Georgia, especially in their joint. So that target's not getting any smaller, but I don't know.
I tell you, man, it's just something now that Georgia's the team everybody loves to hate now, I feel like, in the national media. I mean, you could feel that when you're watching shows, and maybe it's just me as a Georgia fan, but I like that, man. I don't get upset about that. I'm not going to be one of these things that just think people are out to get me or out to get Georgia or anything. That makes you feel good when you are in that narrative of the media, that it seems like in some circumstances and some media platforms, not all of them, man, but I mean, it was just the whole game day atmosphere was wild, Clark, and you could tell without a doubt that the home team crowd did what they wanted to do to the opposing team since the beginning of time, when these SEC stadiums and coliseums and everything, going back to the Romans, Clark, when they built coliseums back in the day for intimidating environments, you know?
Yeah.
Going back to centuries, man, when that started those intimidating environments, for entertainment purposes.
Right.
That their goal is for fans to come in to these venues and intimidate the opposing team. And Georgia, they were shook up to start the game before they settled down.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at penalties, though, I think we may have had 2 pre-snap penalties, one false start, and then maybe an offsides, but I don't even know if that necessarily counts because that's on defense. But regardless, intimidating environment. Adam, I got to say, the fans that we ran into personally were pretty respectful.
I was all right with them.
I think there was a pretty mutual understanding, respect for each other. But I got a message from Miss Jessica Harrell.
Oh, boy.
All right. Now, Miss Jessica was not there at the game, Miss Harrell.
She was not, was
but,
she? No.
Her husband, Russell,
yes,
and then her son and daughter were there, Emma, Grace, and Will.
We saw Will.
We did.
We did see
Will.
Will.
I saw Russell. He was sitting in the section beside us. Yeah.
I didn't see Russell, but I saw Will.
Right. Okay. So here's what they said. Okay. This is from Miss Jessica. I got an Instagram DM. Hey, Clark and Adam. Hope you all fared all right after the gut-wrenching game and made it home safely. My family just returned from T-Town, Tuscaloosa. I encouraged Emma Grace to reach out. Will too. They experienced the absolute bottom feeders of Bama football fans last night, seated in front of them, and were absolutely abused, all caps, for hours. If Emma Grace gets into a fight, it's bad. EG reported to security, event staff, and finally the cops. The cops did offer for she and Russell to be reseated. They were given handicapped seating where a kindly-looking grandmother, Tide fan, also seated in this area, flicked them off. So I tell you, I mean, and you're going to have bad apples in every stadium. Georgia has its bad apples, believe it or not.
Yeah, we do.
But man, I do think
I hate that
we need to, as people, as human beings. Yes, it's great, friendly banner. You can do a little lighthearted trash talk. I think all that's acceptable. We do that as fans, but there is a line.
It's sad when fans have to resort. It's like their self-worth depends on a football team, man.
Sure.
And you're seeing a lot of Georgia fans today like that from how they're acting just after that loss. And don't get me wrong, Clark. I absolutely eat, live, and breathe Georgia football. I absolutely love it.
Well, we have a freaking
we have a podcast about it. Yeah. Talk to people about it. We're here at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night recording talking about it. So obviously we have a problem. There is a problem between us with our love and our addiction to Georgia football, man. But it is not going to make me just go into the depths. It might have when I didn't have as many life responsibilities as a kid, you know, in the sense of just really need to go to school and, you know, and just some stuff like that. But now as an adult and everything too, seeing other adults that just really, it's amazing. It is amazing how it lets them affect their just how they treat other people and everything. And I mean, don't be like that. Yeah. Don't be like that. I mean, it's a healthy addiction, but some people just make it that it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's sad, honestly, to see some of this stuff. And you know, we wave good. Let's bring this up too while we're on this topic. Yeah. You know, last year we had a viral video of us waving goodbye to the Tennessee fans. Great times.
Love it.
Awesome moment.
Yep.
And I knew at some point or another, we were going to be on the receiving end of that, walking out of somebody else's stadium and after a loss. And then that's what happened. We left. Let's just bring this up now too.
Yep.
We left after the Carson fumble you know, because we were concerned about our safety. Honestly,
I don't want to be in stadiums when we lose.
Yeah.
At the end, walking with among the people, among the fans of opposing teams, man.
Yeah.
So
especially in that environment.
In that rowdy of environment. And we were being heckled when we were leaving, and we turned and we waved. And that's the best thing to do is enjoy the attention you're getting from all these people.
Yeah.
You know, they're singling you out. They're giving you some attention. So you just, you know, you
point
you wave,
and
you wave at them.
Just take it like a champ.
Just take it because they want a reaction from you.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's but like you said, man, you expect that when you go on the road and that type of deal when you're leaving and they're friendly banner back, you know, when they're not taking shots. But one Alabama fan did say that shouldn't y'all be underwater somewhere?
Yeah,
and I'm not going to repeat on there what I said back to it because that was a little bit too far. That was ridiculous. And I just
some
again,
girl
it goes
too,
back to that. Just man,
and some girl, she had it looked like a college game day sign. She was parading it through the streets of downtown Tuscaloosa, and we walked by her. And on the sign it said Georgia's diploma or diplomas or something, UGA diplomas. Grab one, and it was a roll of toilet paper. And I just pointed her out, and I singled her out, and I said, "That is incredibly ironic." And her eyes are just like, "What?" You know. I mean, Alabama, in terms of academic prestige, has got to be one of the lowest teams in the SEC, one of the lowest institutions.
Okay. All right.
Well, any school in the state of Alabama, and if you have a degree from Alabama, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm sure there are some smart people, but we're better. But in terms of academic prestige,
talked about not letting it affect them.
Well, you know, don't take shots.
That's right. That's
our IQ.
Not stoop to their level.
Well,
that's right. But then we tell our personal story. Yeah, I mean, all right. Well,
it's just ironic, you know.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's way easier to get in the University of Alabama than it is in the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
It is. No, actually.
I know. I mean, yeah. Facts there.
I mean, it's like Vandy, Florida. Florida's got a good. I would argue though, Georgia,
very good,
2A, 2B,
very good. I really don't know anything besides agriculture, like school rankings in the sense of that, as far as that goes. And Florida's elite.
Yeah,
I hate to say that, but they are in the ag world. And Auburn.
Oh man.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, now we're talking about academics after a loss. We resulted to talking about academics after losing on a football field.
Yeah. Oh man. But we took it like a champ, walking out of that stadium, and you know, it was
it's the SEC, man, on the road. That's what happens when you're a fan when you go there.
Exactly.
You have that risk.
And we always tell people when you travel to these games, you are gambling with your money.
Yeah. No, you are for a good time or a bad time. That's right. Yeah. It is a gamble.
But I will say this: the trip itself was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. You remove the game out of it. The trip, being the camaraderie. With our
man, it's
fellow
great.
dogs,
I love
awesome.
it. I can't get enough of that. I mean, it's great. Even when you do lose, the memory you still have good and bad memories. And I mean, one of the times, man, when you get in the car after, and how we are, if you want to think about what is it like being in a car riding home from a game after Georgia loses with Clark and Adam, it is. You would either. I don't know. You'd either love it or hate it.
I think most of our listeners would absolutely eat it up.
Because it is nonstop. I don't think we shut up for 4 hours and 15 minutes coming home.
And mind you, it was like 5 o'clock when we got home last night, or this morning rather.
And it wasn't just doom and gloom. Oh my God. I mean, but it was, it was just good venting, good rambling.
Yeah.
Good hope, good messages of hope, good half glass full type stuff. And then maybe some glass half empty type stuff, but then back to the glass half full type stuff. Cause we're like, it was just, just rambling, just rambling. It's great.
Good stuff.
It's great.
Well, Adam, weekly concession stands report. I didn't order anything from the concession stands.
Yeah.
I was too nervous. I didn't even get rally peanuts, Adam. I did take a picture pregame. They had shrimp, oysters, chicken, and loaded French fries.
Where?
Like literally right when you walk down the concourse. Really? And yeah, it's the first.
Oysters?
Oysters. Look, I took a picture if you don't believe it.
No, I mean, I want to see it. I don't know.
Let's see if I can find this right quick. But tell me what you got from the concession stand.
Well, Kelsey waited in line, and I was trying to be a good husband because it took forever, of course, to get into the game, even though we got, in line to get into the game an hour and a half before kickoff and, extra security there. So we got in, and then Kelsey went. Concession stand lines were ridiculous. Concession stand lines, the flow there in Bryant-Denny Stadium is still like what concession stands looked like in 1997 across the Southeast.
Oh.
As far as just the maze lines, not the format that we have in Sanford Stadium where you could just go through, pick your stuff, then go to multiple registers to check out and everything and pay. And, it was a standstill there. I was getting a little bit nervous because I wasn't going to miss kickoff. So I didn't go to our seat and leave my wife, right? But I kind of meandered in the middle a little bit where I could still see the field, and I was kind of panicking a little bit. I mean, you know how I get. But thankfully she was able to get the food, and we got a pretzel topped with cheese. It was cold. It was terrible. D- on the concession stands for the line, for the food, for everything.
Wow.
Terrible.
Yeah. They there it is right there. Those shrimp basket $15.99. Oyster basket $16.99.
All right, then.
Shrimp and oyster. I mean,
an oyster roll. An
add-on
oyster roll
right.
for $10.
And look there, Adam. They have Texas Roadhouse roasted peanuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could have gotten us some. I didn't feel like we needed to, though, there for a little bit. I thought that we had enough juju going ourselves that we didn't necessarily need peanuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad we didn't break out the peanuts, because if the game would have still played out like it did, we still would have lost the game, meaning the rally peanuts do us no good. Mm-hmm. The rally peanuts are still undefeated, folks. So if we tell you guys to get the rally peanuts out on Facebook, that's when you get them out.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good.
We'll make a PSA in the future. But, yeah, not much on the weekly concession stands report this week. If you had one, send us a DM. If you were there at the game and you got something good, tell us about it.
Absolutely.
All right, we got some Row 60 patron shout-outs.
Let me say, do the shout-outs first, and then I have one more thing to say about the environment.
Okay, all right, good. Okay. Let me start with these people, though. Row 60 shout-outs, our new patrons here, Miss Lucy Floyd from Franklin County, Adam.
Yes.
She used to be my principal.
Lucy. Yes, mine too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes, love Miss Lucy and the whole Floyd family. Awesome. Thank you for your support.
Yes. And then my good buddy Ian Fisher.
Yes.
Out in Jefferson. Yes. He joined this week as well.
Yes, we love Ian too. That is awesome, man. It's a good deal.
Good stuff. Hey, we really greatly appreciate y'all joining. And if you want to join us on Patreon, it's really easy. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/row60. It's $5 a month. And man, we'll get you in this community. We've got a great Facebook page, great chat going.
A very interesting rest of the season. So it's going to be great. Going to be great. Going to be very interesting, because who knows what's going to happen?
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen, man?
Oh, man. We just post a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, just stuff you'd never see on our...
Just having a good time.
Yep.
Just a good time, and that's what I love about it. So, yes, thank y'all for coming aboard. And if you're not aboard, hey, come on. Come join us.
That's
the
right.
more the merrier.
$5 a month, and it helps us to get more road games and produce more content for everybody. So
keep the lights on.
The studio lights.
For the payments, for everything that you have to keep the whatever you do with this stuff running.
It does cost them.
The SoundCloud and the what else? What other type of clouds do you have? StreamYard, the yards and clouds and whatnot that you have to have subscriptions to on the internet. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. No, what I was going to say, Clark, about the atmosphere as well is during the first half when we were getting shellacked after like running through the X and O's thing, I sat there and I thought, we have Mickey Mouse, we have Minnie Mouse, we have Kid Rock, we have Donald J. Trump and Hank Williams Jr. in attendance, and Herschel Walker
and Quavo
and
Tommy Tuberville.
And Tommy Tuberville was there too.
Adam, hold up, not to cut you off here.
Yeah.
When we were walking out of the stadium, we saw Tommy Tuberville.
Did you?
And I said, "There's Tommy Tuberville," and McKay said, "Tommy," and Tommy Tuberville turned around and looked at us. As we were
Really?
the same. Yep.
Oh, were those important people in the suits that were coming out of the
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I knew they were, but I did not see that. I would have went up and shook his hand or something. I guess.
Anyway,
just said
but
something.
continue.
But anyway, they looked important. But anyway, I was like, we have some celebrities with like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse in the house. And Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse were there. They were there. And I thought, we are laying an egg on the national stage. And what is the thought of Georgia football going to be for all these people?
What is Mickey going to tell Goofy about this game?
I'm telling you. I'm like, Mickey Mouse is in attendance right now. And he's watching us getting beat 28-0. There's 12 minutes left in the second quarter. This is not good. This is not good. Not what we want. So I had that thought run through my mind.
Oh,
and I shared it with you up there.
So
at that point, we just needed something just to get a good chuckle about.
We did. So, I wish y'all could have seen our faces, and really just all the Georgia faithful faces that after we went down 28-0. Oh my gosh, what a night!
I have a mark on my hat that I have to wash it. Hopefully it comes out from where I slammed against the concrete wall.
Wait, is that what that was from?
That was from? Oh my gosh. Because I forgot what it was at the moment, but usually I bottle it up pretty well during games. And I have not had a good hat throw in a long time, Clark. And I've been very proud of that and very thankful for that. So I'm not complaining one bit about it, but it just got to the point I had to revert back to my old ways and sling my hat up against the concrete pillar.
I wish I could have gotten that on video.
Chunk just against the pillar. And then I saw that I had some concrete dust on it, and it won't come out.
God, you must have really knocked that thing against the concrete.
I gave a crow hop in I don't know what it was. I don't know what Jalen Milroe scamper it was or whatever it was. But
you know what? When it was that fourth touchdown.
I think it was.
And the lights went out.
Yes.
And I just heard the smack of something. And I didn't even comprehend I didn't really put two and two together. I didn't look around because I was just bitter.
Yeah.
But that's what it was.
That's what it was.
100%. Oh my gosh. Hey, speaking of hats.
I love it.
Speaking of hats, go visit our friends at Peach State Pride.
Go visit our friends at Peach State Pride.
You may need a new Peach State Pride hat.
That's exactly right.
After that.
Exactly right. So, absolutely. Visit our friends at Peach State Pride. We have been telling y'all about them. Check them out. Something for every occasion, game day, casual wear, formal wear, whatever you want. Great pride in the state of Georgia. Go check them out, baby.
Go check them out. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Clark's not so fun facts.
Hit that jingle, baby.
I'm going to have to replace
this.
This
is such a weird episode right now.
Like
this is just such a weird episode. I like it, but we got to get on the horse with it.
Yeah, we do. We're at 11:21 at night right now. We're pulling an all-nighter for you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
And honestly, here's another thing. We're recording this so that we can release it early for our patrons. That's another reason to get into Patreon. We do early releases for our episodes a couple days early sometimes. So anyway, Clark's not so fun facts. In the Georgia-Bama rivalry, no team has ever scored more than 41 points. For the third time under Kirby Smart, Alabama scored 41 points exactly.
Yeah.
Last night.
Two SEC championship games. No, one in Tuscaloosa. The two past times we've been to Tuscaloosa. 41 points.
Against Power 4 opponents this year, Georgia has only scored 6, 3, and 7 points respectively in the first halves. Talk about slow starts, Adam. This is something that me, you, Will Matthews, shout out to Will, and Baylor and McKay, both patrons, we were talking about this. Georgia, I guess that's just what we're known for the past 2 seasons, is just slow starts under this Mike Bobo offense. And we're going to get into this a little bit later, but man, any like thought on that?
Not good.
It's not
what
good.
you want.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
gets you beat last night.
Right.
Puts you behind a very big 8 ball. and something that if you're going to make the playoff this year and go 11-1, 10-2, you can't continue to have that with a lot of key games that's coming up.
Exactly. That's a trend we don't want right there. This was Carson's first multi-interception game of his career. He threw 3 picks, and not good, but 3. Yep. Georgia allowed Bama 30 points in the first half of this game. We didn't allow 30 points in any game last season.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but you're exactly right. Dang, man.
And then the worst, Georgia's 42 straight regular season win streak and 28-game SEC win streak is snapped. So you know what?
Heck of a run, man.
Heck of a run.
Heck of a run right there. It's like I told everybody, there's like 125 teams in Division I football across this great land, Clark. We could talk about trash to not trash, but we have bragging rights, and they can't say that their program is superior than ours, except just one program out there.
That is true.
Because every one of these streaks that ended has just been in the hands of Alabama. And it is sickening. It's sickening, and I'm tired of it. But, it is what it is right now until we do beat them again. And but, it was a great run. 42 straight regular season wins is unreal. And, it's something that I think now, hey, you know what? When a streak ends, next week just brings an opportunity to start a new one.
Exactly. That's a great way of looking at it right there. All right. So
I have one more fun fact. I thought this was interesting. I read this today, as a matter of fact, that after I woke up from my nap, because I woke up this morning and was like, well, we got beat. Yep. It's okay. The sun's rose. Jesus is still on the throne. All that good stuff, right? Then later on, went throughout the day, took a little nap, woke up again. We got beat. Oh, well, it's the afternoon. I'm hungry. We'll get something. It's okay.
Okay.
Read a little bit of just some reading material with a mid-afternoon coffee. Kirby Smart. This was the 3rd time in Kirby Smart's regime here at Georgia that we have played a top 10 opponent on the road, Clark, and we are 0-3.
Wow.
Tuscaloosa in 20 last night and 2017 in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Dang.
And also another one that you could throw that was a little bit right outside, I don't know where they were ranked at, was Baton Rouge in 2018.
Yep. Wow. That's not a good trend. And, there's been a lot of people saying, including other fans, Georgia hasn't really played on the road in hostile environments. And I think they're right.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't argue that. But, in a couple of those games, we stayed close, including last night. At least,
we did.
If you look at the complete game, it was a little bit closer than what the first half, what you remember of the first half. But, wow. So, Adam, we do have one streak left, and this is where Clark's Fun Facts comes back.
There we go, baby.
Hit that jingle.
Hit that jingle. That's right.
Georgia is, in the past 49 football games that we've played, we are 49-0 against opponents not named the University of Alabama.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I love that.
We got one streak left.
Well, we get 50-0 against them right now with Auburn coming to town. Love that. No, that's good. That's good. I like it. No, I like that, man. Yeah.
Hey, glass half full. All right, well, let's dive into the UGA offense
now.
Yep.
Well, I mean, y'all can tell as we have stumbled through this episode so far, we are kind of not used to producing one of these bad boys after a loss. And but hey, it's all right. So let's talk about X's and O's now and what everybody wants to talk about, what everybody has been talking about, what everybody has an opinion about, and we want to hear your opinion. Send it in to us, man, and respect everybody's opinion with it. And right now, we're going to give you me and Clark's opinion of what happened in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and the good, the bad, and what's to come.
Yeah. Let's start with UGA's offense
and
Alabama's defense here. Obviously, a very slow start. But I will say, Adam, I loved how aggressive we were in the first half. Mainly the first drive. I mean, we came out, we threw the ball every play. And now some people may not like that. I personally like that.
Well,
after all this chatter,
how we need to get more vertical.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that was the talking points after the Kentucky game, right?
Yeah. We came out, we threw the football, we took a deep shot to Arian Smith on the second play of the game, and he dropped.
It was a makeable play.
It was
a makeable play, man, and those are plays on the road against top 10 teams in the SEC that you have to make to win these games, man. And momentum is such a big thing, Clark. And that's one of those things you look back, if you get the ball right there, you're within Alabama's 5-yard line, you punch it in right there to make it 7-7. So you withstand the initial Alabama drive of driving down the field, make it 7-0 in their place, and you go and you answer, and you make it 7-7 right there. Kind of take the crowd out of it just a little bit, you know what I mean? And who knows kind of the trajectory then.
Yeah. I mean, games change after plays like that. And I mean, we just didn't make them. A lot of them last night. There were a lot of plays we didn't make last night that could have changed the trajectory of this game. And listen, this is all about talking about.
Let's talk.
Woulda, shoulda, couldas.
Right.
I mean, but at the end of the day, we know if that's in the past. We cannot control that. I'm just letting y'all know now.
It's a therapy session.
It's
a venting session. You know what I mean? We're just venting. We're just venting.
We're fans.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but yeah, like I said, I loved how aggressive we were. Adam, one thing I really wish we'd start doing more of, and maybe this is something we've tried working on. Maybe we're just not connecting. Maybe the ball's just not being put in the right spot here. But I wish we would start drawing up some back shoulder passes.
Oh, like old Aaron Murray.
Yeah, to
Chris
Malcolm
Conley
Mitchell.
and Malcolm Mitchell back in the day. Yeah, I can see that, Clark.
There were a lot of times last night Alabama's defense smothered us in the secondary. I mean, they smothered us, and they did a great job, and you got to give a lot of credit to their defense.
Yeah, some young DBs, some transfer DBs that came in there. Not the DBs that we talked about it that you're used to seeing in the Saban era, but they played well, man, and kind of a concern that you thought we could get some separation against these guys, you know. And there was a lot of times, man, that you got to call it like it is. That there were some balls that should have been intercepted by Alabama that they couldn't find the football too in some senses in the second half where we were able to connect downfield, and that's good. That's good and all too as well. But I don't know, man. It's one of those things that I think they did play well in some spurts, but I also think, Clark, that there were some times that they could have made some plays and had even more interceptions against our against Carson Beck and our receiver.
Yeah, maybe so. Let's talk about Carson here. He went 27 for 50. 50. That's 5-0. I think the last time we've thrown it 50 times, Georgia, South Carolina, 2019.
Wow. Really?
I'm pretty sure that's
interesting. We need to confirm that. So another loss is when we've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia football's built on the run game, man. And you can say, and I'll say it. I mean, Clark, let's talk about Carson Beck. Let's talk about Mike Bobo all together and everything. We have been known the past couple of years, and we still are, so don't get this wrong, that we have supported Mike Bobo on this podcast when everybody has just, driven him into the dirt. I mean, Georgia fans historically love to bash Mike Bobo, Clark.
Yeah.
From 2000, I mean, we're talking from 17, 18 years ago on until he left the first time in 2014. And I think some of that's unwarranted. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, Mike Bobo did his part, because I think there were some things and the game plan just kind of, I couldn't really figure out what the game plan was. Right. But in his defense, too, we were down 14-0, 21-0, 28-0 before you could blink, man, and you had to throw the football and try to make some explosives and pick up some chunks of yards, man. But in the sense, I don't think it was a great game plan by Bobo in the sense of kind of a balanced attack too as well. So I don't know, Clark. I don't know what I'm trying to say with it, because I don't want to bash Mike Bobo like everybody has been, but I think what this team on offense right now is there's not one particular stuff you could point to that's a problem. It's multiple ways. There's plays that have been drawn up that the players needed to execute, Clark, and there were some head scratchers to us, the average fan, that you could even know of why that's being called or why are we doing that right now. Two, that might not have been set up for the players to be able to make a play the best. And I think right now, obviously, though, when you're saying, well, your players aren't performing to the level, that's on the coaching staff ultimately. But in the sense, man, I feel like it's just as a offensive group, everybody has to just get on the same page. There's no finger pointing that could be done. And obviously, unless you're Hugh Freeze, coaches aren't going to single out players that they're not making plays and throw them under the bus, right? So, I mean, you're not going to hear that from this Georgia coaching staff. But what we're seeing on offense, I think we're missing. Carson Beck's missing. You're missing those guys who just had that it factor. There's Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, guys who would step up on third down situations, man. And Carson Beck, I feel like, I don't know. I'll let you talk a little bit more, then I want to come back on Carson Beck.
Yeah. Sorry, I got to clear my throat. A little scratchy from last night. Yeah, I mean, there were some head scratchers for sure. Like, I don't know if I agree with that play call. There are a couple. But you got to wonder, like, I sit there and try to really dissect, okay, is this us just missing, not executing, or is this just a bad play call to begin with? I personally tend to call out the execution more than I do the play call, right?
Right.
I think I would generally say that the offensive coordinator knows more. The current offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia, named Mike Bobo, he probably knows more than all of us fans combined about football.
Of course.
And I'm not calling you out. I think I'm calling everybody who's been bashing Mike Bobo for years out here. But it's an execution problem, I personally think. And Carson too. He seemed rattled. I think he's just been playing stiff too, and just not loose. And last night, I think he really tried to force some things that just weren't there. You saw that one pass, I think it was to Dom Lovett, over the middle on a dig route. I mean, it was quadruple coverage they threw into. And I feel like he's just trying to force stuff and make things happen because you are down 28-0, right?
Right.
Just like that. So what this really boils down to, though, Georgia has yet to play a single game, a full 4 quarters of complimentary football.
Yeah.
You don't have it.
No, you're right. You're right, man. And I mean, that's exactly right. Carson just, the first half, you could just tell by the body language, man. It just wasn't there. He almost was intimidated by the environment in a sense. And it just seemed like there was times where with his footwork and everything, his throws, that throwing off his back foot when there really wasn't reason to be throwing off his back foot whatsoever, not stepping into throws, you pointed out. And I'll have to shout out my wife. She said, Carson's kind of reminded me of Jake Fromm did his last year. And I was like, that's not a bad comparison because and then I went into it. I was like, well, you think about it. I don't see us utilizing the middle of the field like we did during the Stetson Bennett era. And then when you had Brock Bowers there in the sense that was kind of like what the 2019 offense was with Jake Fromm, is everything was outside the hashes.
Right.
Through there, and there wasn't no just gunning it and ripping it across the middle of the field. And I felt like when Stetson Bennett was there too, he just had the ice. He didn't care, honestly.
Yeah.
He was a walk-on. He would just chunk it, rip it right down the middle of the field, man. And then, of course, it helps when you have Brock Bowers and being able to go across the middle and make just the catches that he would make and be able to separate as a tight end in that body size that he was. But I feel like, too, man, it's just even in the passing game, we're not utilizing just up the seam across the middle of the field posts. And I could be wrong on that, but, looking back on just some of these shots we're taking, I don't see a lot of that being happened.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably a lot of scheme. But, last year I felt like we did hit a lot of guys across the middle. One of them mainly being Brock Bowers. So maybe it's just a confidence issue. And if it is, I think that's something that can be found within the next couple of games. All it takes is one really good game, full 4-quarter game, to find your rhythm. And that honestly may give you the confidence boost. That's when you see, okay, you know what? We do have those guys, those elite wideouts that can step up big on third downs and make big plays. So, it takes time. I think we've been spoiled in the past few years that things have just worked out offensively. Really good. We've been clicking on all cylinders. We've been going 100 miles an hour. Last year we had a top 5 offense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people tend to forget that, especially a lot of Mike Bobo haters out there.
That's true, man, and you definitely got to look at it. And I just think it's something though that there is a problem offensively, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to throw Mike Bobo under the bus whatsoever, and say, oh, he needs to be fired. No, I do not think that whatsoever. But ultimately, it starts with him. On scheme, especially in the quarterback room. That's his guy with Carson Beck and how he progresses from last year to this year and how great they were last year together. You have a returning starting quarterback where y'all were together last year. Yeah. Hey, we need to see it this year. That's and I'm not going to point fingers at completely to Bobo needs to do a better job scheming these guys with the right game plan because, no, I mean, anybody with any common sense sees the plays that are not being executed out there as well. But also on the flip side, that starts at the top with the coaching staff on down as well, too, with that. But I'm not going to sound the alarm but panicky, but we do see now that you can say it's a little bit of a trend. Sure. But let's see what happened in that second half, man. You know, they came to life, and we talked about it in the sense of it just seems like I would like to see more tempo. It's almost like, too, Clark, I feel like when it's just, we just got to let it rip, almost not thinking about it, just playing loose, up tempo. Hey, nothing to lose. We're just flying down the field.
Yeah.
Flying down the field, man. And I kind of wouldn't mind seeing some tempo, but I don't know if a high tempo offense is what Kirby Smart wants to have in Athens to complement the style of head coach he is and how he's defensive minded.
Right. Know? Well, and that's a trade-off. If you go a million miles an hour on offense, then you risk your defense being out there too long and then getting gashed, and then you don't have the stamina to, complete these really tough games. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Carson here. 439 yards. A lot of that was made up in the second half.
Which is great.
Yeah, it is.
That's great.
3 touchdowns, 3 picks. I think it is the weirdest thing to say, but, like, he had the worst half of football in his entire life and the best one, arguably the best.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, he made some big throws late in the fourth quarter. I'm not counting the interception at the end. I have my thoughts on that in just a second. But, what really killed us, though, let's be honest, 4 turnovers. Yeah. You are not going to win many games, especially in the SEC, especially on the road, if you give a team like Alabama 4 extra possessions.
Clark, you're exactly right. If you would say that you went into Tuscaloosa at night, 7:30, and you turned the ball over, really 5 times.
Yeah, if you count the safety.
If you count the safety, giving them 2 points there, and then giving them the ball back 5 times, but 4 regular turnovers, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble. Man, no, you're not going to win at all. So, and really, that's why this game makes no sense. To lose by 7 points, it's unreal. And that's why we love college football, because sometimes you just can't make sense of it all. To spot them 28 points, and then I know everybody has their opinion. I mean, and it's amazing. Some Georgia fans don't even want to give Georgia credit for coming back in the second half. It's miserable. Yes, you have to have things work out your way in times, man. Converting 5 for 5 on 4th downs and everything. But in the same sense, you have to give credit to the heart, man, and the never give up attitude of this offense of this team, not to just lay down and get beat 51-14, and just get embarrassed on national television. No, I love seeing that, man. Love seeing what Carson Beck had, and where my hope is, and where we are as a podcast, and fans, how we are, and we've always been this way, is glass half full, and that's how we want to live our life. Is I'm hoping right there, man, that's when we say, hey, that's when the lights came on for this offense. Yeah. And then when we get down the road, we get past Austin, Texas, we get past Oxford, Mississippi, and then we're gearing up for Tennessee to come to town, man, and we're a 1-loss football team, and I don't know where Tennessee will be then there. We'll be like, hey, do you remember, when we were really questioning this offense, what happened in Tuscaloosa? We say, hey, we could point to that second half. We found the identity, and it runs through number 15 slinging the ball. Number 15 found his swagger back again, and showing why he is the top, first-round draft pick that he is. I'm hoping that's what we could say, but we could look back on, man. I think we will.
And I said this a lot last night to you. Carson really does have all the attributes you could possibly want for a quarterback, but I think the one thing he's lacking right now is confidence. He's probably heard a lot of stuff in the media and whatnot, and it's one thing to have confidence when you're going into interviews and even at practice, but it's another when you get in a game time, a game, right? Yeah. And you're playing in the game. You got to have a different kind of confidence. You got to play it with swagger. And I think that's one thing Stetson did really well. Carson, I think, is getting there. He's regaining that. I think that second half definitely helped him build some confidence. He made some really great throws. If you go back and watch the tape, I'm telling you, he made some excellent throws. Now, he also made some bad throws, but he made some really elite throws, and you just clean up some stuff, and I think this offense gets humming.
Yeah, it does, man. But, I agree, Clark. I think Carson, it's a crossroads right now for him. Again, in a sense of, hey, we'll see where he takes it from here. But if he takes command of this offense, knows that the offense runs through him, And the identity of the offense runs through number 15 slinging the ball around and, complimentary. I think we need to get Trevor Etienne the ball more. Kid's a playmaker.
He is.
Stud. And then, too, going back to Coach Bobo, and we're like, well, why didn't we get – man, we were just down. It changed everything as well when we just got down like we did. That shell shock that early, 28-0 at the start of the second quarter.
Right.
So, I feel like that's something, too, that you can't say, well, why didn't we run the ball? Everything had to change.
Right. One play that I think really just turned the momentum completely was that pick in our own 30-yard line. And everybody, if you didn't see that, you may assume that was on Carson. I think it was more on Arian Smith.
I think it was
the
too.
screen.
Yeah,
it was a screen, but he didn't.
He ran a dig.
He ran a slant or something. I mean, it wasn't even. I don't know what it was, but obvious miscommunication there. You throw it right to the defender. That probably looked like it was on Carson, but stuff like that. You just got to clean that stuff up. Because I do think that play would have gotten you 5 yards. You don't give Alabama, you don't gift wrap them a possession starting in your own 30. So clean this stuff up. Clean up the bad throw he made. When 3 guys are rushing, you're dropping 8. You don't have to force a throw, right? It's 5v3. You've got 5 offensive linemen blocking against 3 guys. If it's not there, don't force it. Run. Right. And I think that's one thing Carson did really well coming out of the second or out of the half was he ran the ball a little bit better. He tucked it and he ran. And I think that's something we've got to continue to do with him. He's an athletic guy.
Yeah.
And it at least keeps the defense respecting him for that. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think the offensive line, Clark, I think they're getting some unwarranted criticism, especially – losing some injured guys, you don't have your leader Atledge out there. I thought they held up pretty well.
They did.
I thought they held up pretty well.
I mean, they gave up 3 sacks, but it's not like they just got whipped the whole night or anything. Bama brought blitz. Yeah. They were very aggressive on their front 7. They came at us. They threw a lot at us.
A lot of people don't want to hear that, but I thought they did.
I'm with you. I have it right here in my notes. I thought our offensive line played really well, actually, despite giving up 3 sacks.
Yeah,
Bama was bringing a lot of heat.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I think there was pass pro was well, good, and so I'm not ready to hit the panic button on it yet. I'm not going to sit here and just pat them all on the back that they are just humming right now at everybody coaching on down, but the potential is just there, man. I think hopefully the second half gave me a lot of encouragement that we could see it just really. Everything, the lights come on from the top on down through this offense, and that's what I'm hoping we're going to see.
All right, we're about to move on to defense, but before I do, I want to read a couple more names here. Trevor Etienne, we mentioned him, 12 carries, 55 yards, 4.6 average, touchdown. He ran hard, and I really do like his leadership. I think he's emerging as a leader on offense. Yeah, he does. He does. There's a reason that kid left the depths of hell that is Gainesville, Florida.
That's right.
And ventured
to Athens, Georgia. He wants to win, baby.
Exactly. So I like his leadership. I think if anything, what last night did, it created a couple more leaders.
That's right.
And we may not be able to see that from the public eye, but within that locker room, somebody did step up.
Yeah.
2 more guys. Arian Smith, 6 receptions, 132 yards. He averaged 22 yards, a reception and a touchdown. Dylan Bell, 5 receptions, 100 yards, averaged 20 yards, and a touchdown as well. And then he had a rushing touchdown, which was huge. But or maybe it was a 2-point conversion.
I like seeing number 86 get the football. Clark.
I do too.
And I hope that's something we see some more too. And, I mean, you got guys out there. And, I mean, I know a hot topic right now is that we don't have the Ohio State, the Jeremiah Smiths, the Ryan Williams there. And, I mean, you like to see them, and you like to improve on that with some of these skilled guys, get more elite guys. But for right now, man, I mean, you could see the second half showed that this offense really can be elite. And I'm not going to get it because you're seeing so many Georgia people wanting to downplay that performance and wanting to just dwell on the first half, like, oh, Alabama let off the gas, or I mean, you have the 5-for-5 4th down conversions. If you miss one of them, it's a 17-point win for Alabama. But Georgia had to execute those 5-for-5 for 4th downs. I mean, it's not like it was handed to them. So I'm choosing to believe these guys said, hey, we're not going to just be embarrassed. We're going to come out and we're going to go down fighting. We're going to give our guys a chance, man. Then that says a lot about the character. I'm hoping that means that there's some guys that leadership has been developed there, because when Georgia has been at its best, what we like, there's been just some guys who just had that it factor and had that leadership, man. And we're just different. We're just different. And every championship team in every sport has that. And honestly, right now, it's kind of trying to figure out who it is. It is, and maybe we're hoping that we'll see that emerged in the second half in Tuscaloosa, and I think it's going to go one or two ways. I really do, going forward, and I like to think, though, that it's going to be that we're going to point back at this second half of where this offense turned it on.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Let's move on to Georgia's defense versus Alabama's offense. Adam, you kick off. You have a great chance to set the tone early on. You're almost at a 3-and-out. And on third down, you jump off sides, extends the drive. Then later in the drive, Kristen Miller, misses a sack on Jalen Milroe. They get a chunk play there, and then they score.
Yeah.
And it's just little things like that add up, and then you got 7 points on the board. Alabama's got all the momentum. And I'm going to be honest with you. The defense, listen, I think they kept us in this game. And I know what you're thinking. 28 points, though, in a quarter and, some change. But the problem is, whenever their defense would stop, our offense wasn't doing anything. In fact, there were a couple times where we turned it right back over to Alabama.
Yeah.
So I think they played their tails off. I think more than anything, we were just out of position, right?
Yeah.
I think we came out playing with fire. We were very aggressive. If you go back and watch, we were very, very aggressive trying to get to Milroe. We weren't quite getting home. Yeah, we left some guys open, but I think that is more scheme than it was – I think that was more execution than it was scheme.
And don't discount the fact that Jalen Milroe was about as perfect could be in the first half.
Of course, yep.
I mean, truly, and how hard it is to defend how good he was, and he was what? How many passes in a row did he complete? I mean, he had what was his passing percentage completion for the whole game?
27 for 33. He had 374 yards passing.
That when you're that accurate through the air, and then what you can do with your legs, it's hard to defend, man. And that's always been Georgia's kryptonite on defense, is a mobile elite quarterback. And I'm going to go ahead and put Jalen Milroe in the elite quarterback right now.
He honestly made a quantum leap from last year to this year.
And I think
it's been amazing.
Kalen DeBoer props on that, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, I mean, sometimes you got to just tip your hat to the offense, and then you can say, well, and then you combine it with maybe not our best defensive out. I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room that every Georgia fan wants to point at right now on defense, and that's tackling, Clark. It's not up to the standard.
Yeah.
I mean, you missed 2 tackles against Clemson. Mm-hmm. 2 tackles against Clemson. I want to say 10 against Tennessee Tech, or 8. 15 against Kentucky, 15 against Alabama.
Yeah. And
that's not Georgia football. They'll tell you it. And I think some guys, the past 2 games, just hadn't had their best games, man. And I'll say this. I think the best 2 players on the field that were absolutely striking people last night, Clark, absolutely just imposing. I mean, just what we saw out of the Georgia defense that we love were Jalen Walker and Dan Jackson.
Dan freaking Jackson.
Let's talk about Dan Jackson real quick, because I know you want to talk about him. People are going to not think, just say that he's a liability out there. He's never a liability. He played his best career game last night.
Completely agree. I said that.
Did you have that on your?
I didn't say the career game, but I would 100% agree with you.
I think it was his best game he ever played.
For sure. Player of the game, I think, for Georgia.
Yeah.
Who else?
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody's going to say, well, DeBoer, he was, making, wanted everything to be called towards Dan Jackson. Trying to make him a liability, thinking that he was the weak link in the defense, and I do not think that is the truth whatsoever.
Yeah.
In my mind, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but in my mind, Dan Jackson was not a reason why Alabama lit up the scoreboard in the first half.
Yeah, he had 10 tackles. He was the team leader there. 6 solo tackles. Guys, he's a safety.
Yeah.
And 1 interception. He played his tail off. He wanted it. And I'm not saying the other guys didn't, but Dan truly wanted it. I think another guy who played – well, you said – who
Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker,
just striking people, man. I'm talking about both of them were guys who just were thumpers out there. Another
guy who played his tail off for given the hand he was dealt, Michael Williams.
Yeah.
Played really hard. I mean, he
Not
didn't
at
really
100%.
show up a lot, but I mean, he was there.
And I hadn't played since week 1. You're right. C.J. Allen, too, was flying around the field. And
that's my point. Like, we were playing with fire, but we were just so out of position. If you go back and watch, we're just out of position in some plays, and that costs you. You can't be a step behind against a team like this. They got playmakers everywhere.
Yeah, and if I'm going to talk about how I think, it wasn't – if it starts with the coaching, I mean, we're going to have to say it starts with, Glenn Schumann. If you're not in position, then – but I do think there was adjustments. What I love about it for going to Bobo and Glenn Schumann, Clark, and what under Kirby has been so good is the halftime adjustments, man.
Yeah.
And both sides of the football, I felt like were able to adjust, and they made some tweaks, and it things changed. Things changed in the second half. But, Glenn Schumann, Clark, this is his first game as a defensive coordinator calling the plays. Yes, Kirby is there, but Kirby is the head coach. That he did not have Will Muschamp or Dan Lanning beside him, helping him. And I think Glenn Schumann's a heck of a coach, man. And I think, I'm just saying, you got to just think about those kind of stuff in the sense, too, man, that I think not having Muschamp on the sideline, it hurts you a bit. I'm not saying that the defense is going to just all of a sudden be terrible, but you can't discount how good Will Muschamp has been for this defensive staff since he came on in 2021. And yes, he's still in the building, but he's not there on the sideline at game day. And Glenn Schumann is still an elite defensive coordinator. I believe that. And because adjustments were made, I feel like that slowed down Alabama in the second half. You could say, well, the naysayers are going to want to say, hey, well, Alabama just took their foot off the gas on the second half. No, I don't believe that, man. I do believe that our defense. I mean, really, Clark, in the second quarter, after the safety, I mean, Alabama's after the first 12-minute mark in the second quarter, they were up 28-0, and they win the ball game 41-34. And I think it's one of those things that I feel like that the defense just, like you said, out of position. When they were in position, weren't making tackles. I think Malachi Starks didn't have his best performance, man. And it's one of those deals that, hey.
Yep. Ryan Williams, man, made us look silly. I mean, honestly, what a playmaker. I knew he would get his, but I didn't know he'd get that much.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable athlete.
Another freshman Alabama receiver torching us. Going back to 08 on. We can just list them all off.
Yep.
It is what it is.
He had 6 receptions for 177 yards, 29.5 average, and a touchdown to seal the deal. And the kid's a playmaker. He's a stud. Hats off, credit to him. Hats off to Kalen DeBoer. I think we got out-coached at least for 3 quarters, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
Some would argue just the whole game, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's what's so demoralizing about this, because you're Kirby and you're thinking, okay, don't have to face Nick Saban. And I'm not saying this is Kirby's mentality. I'm just maybe from a fan's perspective.
It's our fans. We're talking about our mentality.
Sure. The monkey's off your back, and then – we're going to reign in the SEC now because Nick Saban is gone. Woohoo. And then you come out and I'm not saying you lay an egg, but you don't win.
Yeah.
You don't win in a big time matchup that you need.
You gotta tip your hat to Kalen DeBoer and their offensive coaching staff, where they've took Jalen Milroe, where they have this offense at, man. And then you got to tip your hat to Kane Womack and Alabama's defensive staff as well. And when you get beat, you just got to tip your hat, man. And sometimes you just got to accept it. You can't just sit here and just make excuses about it. You just got to take it and hopefully improve and know there's a lot of football to be played. You might possibly play them again. But, Clark, we just got outplayed, outcoached, out physical, out everything,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the bottom line, and it was just a little bit too little too late. Love the effort coming back in the second half. Makes me feel a whole lot better about it. We are no longer anything about a moral victory.
Right.
I mean, Georgia is does not hang their hats on moral victories at all. So I'm not going to say that. And you do have the right as a Georgia fan to be upset. You're a fan. That's fine. But I would just say, just think about stuff in perspective, man, that you could be upset about it, but just think about before you're just wanting to fire everybody. I don't care if you're critical about the coaches right now, the player, whatever, but just know that, man, there's a lot of football to be played, and this is still – has the potential to be a very, very good football team.
Yeah.
And I mean, golly, look what they've done here recently. I mean, we were going to lose a football game eventually. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I thought this would be the game. I know leading up to the game, I mean, I just had to. I'm red and black glasses say Georgia was going to win.
Right.
But preseason in July, when we were talking about schedules, I mean, I never felt good about this game. And honestly, Clark, if you look back and you go 11-1 on the season, you say you lost by 7 points in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you take that all day with this schedule, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's what's crazy about it. It felt like we only lost by 7 points, but how weird the game was has made people more upset than what you would think about when you say how we lost by 7 points to Alabama.
Right.
That's what's
Yeah. Special teams, Thorson, 3 for 140 yards, 46.7 average. Great job by him flipping the field. And then Peyton Woodring, he had to hit a extra point from a lot longer than what should have been.
He did, yeah.
He got that. Good on him.
Continued kicking game, still just solid as can
Oh,
be.
yeah.
Can't
Oh, yeah.
ask for better.
That's true. And the last thing I'm going to say about this game, and we're going to move on. Keys to the game. I had 3. We had a lot of keys to the game, but these were the main 3 that I said last week. Win the fourth quarter. We didn't. Bama made one more play than we did.
That's right. That's key. Yep.
We came close. Win the turnover battle. We definitely didn't do that.
Nope.
We turned it over 4 times. Alabama turned it over once. And then did we outrush the other team? No.
No.
Alabama had 173 yards to Georgia's 80. So,
There you go.
you know,
Clark. That and
all 3.
also we talked about being better on third down, converting
And
on
we
third
weren't.
down.
Yeah. 3 for 15, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we did have 5 for 5 on fourth down.
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
100%.
That's what.
But you
that's
don't want to get
the
yourself
stuff.
in those positions.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So I mean, you know, it is what it is. You hopefully you learn from it and move on. And you just gotta. I admit it, and I'll admit it on this podcast. I'm not going to say anything different. That we were outcoached by Alabama and outplayed by Alabama in a tough environment. And when Clark, the key stat, what you just said, when you turn the ball over 4 times on the road in a top 10 game, you're not going to win. It's amazing that it was a 7-point game. It's true. It's truly is. Truly is. So.
Okay, let's move on to Georgia versus Auburn. We're done with Alabama, at least for now,
with it.
at least for this week. Hey, in the future, we may see them again, and if that time comes,
We'll see.
let's just say it's hard
That's
to
right.
beat Georgia twice.
That's right. That's
So,
right. That's
anyway.
right, man. No, I'll say this. I'm gonna be pumping it up and fired up again, like I am every single time Georgia plays Alabama for a Georgian win, and I think, hey, we'll see.
All right, the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Adam, this is historically a CBS game. Should we get a good bump for this in honor or no?
No, they left us.
That's true. Yeah.
Or I guess we let the SEC left. I don't know, but I think we're done with it. I don't know. Do you want to?
No, it doesn't hit the same.
Nah, that's right. That's right.
We need to figure out ABC's jingle and start doing it.
Yeah, we do. We'll practice that for the next round.
ABC's jingle is terrible. That was more like
it is bad. It is bad.
Anyway,
It is bad.
Georgia owns the record over Auburn, 64, 56, and 8.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a back and forth rivalry in all its time.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows though, man. But the domination the past couple decades, golly, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I love every second of it. Now I'm loving shifting our focus towards this rivalry.
Yeah.
And Georgia owns Auburn, man. Georgia owns Auburn, and I mean, they're coming into Athens. They have not won a football game in Athens, Georgia, since 2005.
Man, they haven't beaten us since 2017. Before that, it's 2013. They rarely beat us. That's
right.
not to say it can't happen, but
And when they do, it's in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
yep. Yeah.
Period.
I mean,
Period.
really though, we've smacked them a lot. Well, last time they came into Athens, it was a little bit closer than we would have liked, but still beat them by I think 2 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, man. I mean, no, but and they've come into Athens too, like 2016. They definitely should have won.
Oh, yeah.
2011, it looked like they should have been the better team in that game too. And I mean, 2011 just smacked them around, man. Well, no, I'm sorry. I was completely wrong on that. 2011.
11 we did.
No, I know we smacked them around, but they were having a terrible year. They were having no 12 was I don't know, but anyway,
12 was awful.
yeah, but 14 was the year they should have.
Yeah, the
That
Nick
could've been-
Marshall.
That's the one, yeah, with the Todd Gurley coming back, and we
Yeah.
beat them pretty good that game too, man. So I mean, it's just something that hey, Auburn doesn't win in Athens, man. So I'm feeling confident about that, and it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun indeed. Here's who they've played this season. Alabama A&M won 73-3. Great on them.
Good on them.
Next week, they laid an egg to California, the Golden Bears. 21-14 loss. New Mexico, they beat 45-19. Arkansas, they got beat 24-14. Oklahoma, they got beat, which was last week, 27-21. So they are off to a 2-3 start for this season. Not good for Brother Hugh, Adam.
I love it.
Yeah.
Injected in that vein right there, man. It could always be worse. Imagine being an Auburn fan right now.
Man.
Golly, man. I love that Auburn football is just irrelevant now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, heck, Brother Hugh right now has a pretty good recruiting class on the Plains, but I hope it implodes because the trajectory of this season is not looking good. And I love what's even better about it on the field. It looks bad, Clark, but even more so at the podium, Brother Hugh is just digging a bigger pit for himself.
Yeah. I mean, he's called out his own players. If y'all haven't seen it, I mean, he's been throwing his own quarterback under the bus, pointing fingers. If you're a head coach of a college football team and something goes wrong, you don't point at your players, your 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old players. You point it at yourself and your coaches.
I just don't like the man. I hate to say it like that, but he's given me enough and given like the public eye enough about what he truly is for me to say that.
Yeah. He is a very unlikable human being.
And I love having those type of coaches at our rival school.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk about their current team. Peyton Thorne this year, their starting quarterback, has thrown 9 picks in 5 games. Auburn ranks 132nd in interceptions this year in FBS. Adam, there are only 133 teams in FBS.
Wow. Hey, I love that, man. That means our DBs. Time to eat, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Time to eat, baby.
This was when you pin your ears back, you get some pressure, and, you go attack. Get some coverage sacks.
That's right. Get some coverage sacks, man.
They run a lot of RPOs, and they use a lot of motion. They always have since, the Gus Malzahn era. Even Gene Chizik, they want to get you out of position. That's their bread and butter. A lot like Tennessee in that aspect. But, they do like to throw the ball a lot. And they've had to, I think, because they've been behind in some of these games.
Yeah.
They're averaging 294 yards per game through the air. That's 25th best in the FBS, so not bad. Mm-hmm. They're also averaging 171 yards on the ground, 62nd in FBS. They're not up to where they've normally been in years past.
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. Not at all, man. And, I mean, it goes back, just the quarterback play is atrocious on the Plains right now.
Yeah. It's not good, but I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of turnovers that they have. They are so turnover prone. And if that trend continues in Athens, boy, we are going to
eat, baby. Gonna eat.
Yep. They'll rely on Jarquez Hunter on the ground. He's got 65 carries for 437 yards this year. Mm-hmm. Hey, last year, though, we can't forget about what happened last year in Jordan-Hare. Peyton Thorne, Adam?
Yep.
Watch this. He was a thorn in our side.
I see what you did there.
And they did utilize him in the run game, but I think this year we will definitely prepare for that a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's just 61 for 102, attempts, completions per attempt, and then 1,038 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. Yeah. And honestly, they do have some guys on the perimeter. They've got some really good receivers, I think.
Yeah.
One of them being Keandre Lambert-Smith. He's a senior. The guy has 17 receptions, 415 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's a big playmaker. This Auburn team does thrive on the explosive plays. They want explosive plays. That's how they score a lot of times. They're not going to really necessarily nickel and dime you to death, but they can stay in football games if they are hitting big plays.
Yeah, they can, man. And that's something that I think you said it too, Clark, early. You don't need to overlook this team. No. Especially in a rivalry game like this. I mean, you love that you're at home against them. We've talked about the history when we've had them at home, but they are a team, man, that they're in wounded animal mode.
Are they?
They're in that wounded. Oh yeah, absolutely.
We need to have a button or a siren that we press
for wounded animal mode. Dog backed into a corner type mode, and you could argue, but hey, Georgia's going to start having that kind of chip on their shoulder in the sense of knowing that they going to have to pick it up a little bit, but Auburn is a whole different level of wounded animal mode.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not good there, but I'm hoping it's something that we see where we just have our way this defense does with the offense, man. I love how it sets up just looking at it on paper.
Yeah. They also have Cam Coleman, freshman wideout, 6'3", big body. This kid's insane, or so they think. 9 receptions, 212 yards. He's got a touchdown, I think. And then Malcolm Simmons, he's also a freshman receiver. So that's kind of their 3 main targets, the Keandre Lambert-Smith, Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons. trio. That's who they like to get the ball to, and then Jarquez Hunter and then Peyton Thorne. That's their offense. you know?
Yeah.
Defensively, I think that's their best unit, honestly. They've got a pretty stout defensive line.
Yeah.
They do this year. They've got a sophomore, I can't remember his name. He's 6'6", but he's a big boy, and he can blow it up in the middle.
Yeah, man. DJ Durkin, first-year defensive coordinator at Auburn. You know, they had Ron Roberts, old Baylor defensive coordinator last year. I guess him and Brother Hugh, the Reverend, didn't agree on philosophy or whatever was going on. So they bring in DJ Durkin from Texas A&M, who was Jimbo's guy there for a few years. He was with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He was the Maryland head coach, man, and a guy who has been around the SEC. Kind of a journeyman in the SEC on the defense side of the football, and has produced some good defensive play in the past. You know, pedestrian defensive play in the past, I would put it at that. But hey, we'll see what DJ has dialed up. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't watched much Auburn football this year.
Yeah.
I've tuned into a little bit late when I see they're about to get beat by like Cal,
right,
in Opalanka on the plane. I mean, I'm not going to miss that, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I think a lot of these games, though, really was determined by the amount of times Auburn has turned the ball over.
Yeah.
I think that's their biggest frustration. And Auburn's going to come into this game thinking, if we can limit turnovers, we've got a chance.
Right.
And they firmly believe that. And guys, I'm telling you, their record is a little deceiving, because if you take out those turnovers, and that's part of the game. If you're just that turnover prone, I mean, maybe that's just your identity. But if it's not your identity, if it's something you can truly clean up, they're going to give us a test.
Yeah.
They're not a pushover.
That's right.
Auburn football
That's
team.
right.
So
That's right.
we got to stay alert. I'm not saying we can't blow this team out. I definitely think we have the firepower to do that. But we got to stay alert. A couple of quotes I want to read right quick, and then we'll kind of move on from Auburn, because there's not a whole lot to say here. There's no doubt. Brother Hugh wants this one, especially after last year. Right?
He needs
it for his job.
He needs it.
Keldrick Falk, Auburn's defensive lineman, said, how we pick up the momentum is Georgia. They put us as their homecoming. I totally forgot about that.
I did too. It is.
So that's enough motivation as it is.
I love that we picked Auburn instead of Mississippi State as our homecoming game. That's great. That's great.
That is great. Man, what a slight to Auburn right there.
That's great.
Kirby also said after the Alabama loss, humility is always a week away. So I like that attitude and that mentality, and the players know that. And it's time to rebound.
It is, man. I think no better game to rebound than against Auburn. An opponent that is a historic rival. One that, if you're not keyed in, they can get you, and be a very embarrassing loss for Georgia if that was the case. But I think it's going to be a game, man, where you're going to see Georgia on both sides of the football at home, back at Sanford Stadium, man, after a few weeks being gone from there, really kind of just pick up some momentum in a big win.
You know what I'm really hoping happens is we get a big league, Adam, and we start having fun.
Yeah.
This team, I think, had some fun there in the second half with the Clemson game.
Yeah.
They looked excited. They looked like they were happy to be there and just having fun and letting loose.
Just let loose.
And that's what I want against another opponent.
Right.
Auburn would be perfect. We need to just play a little bit more loose.
Just let loose, man. I agree, man. I agree. Just let loose and just go out there and just have some fun, man. Sling the ball around, get balance, run, get some. I would love to just see us just break some long runs, man. Yeah. Man, I don't know what Nate Frazier is right now. I don't know if he's in the doghouse. I don't know if he's injured. I don't want to speculate anything because I have not heard. I don't know if it was just we needed to throw the ball. Wasn't great in pass pro, knowing the playbooks in Alabama last week, but I'd love to see Frazier get involved some, in the game plan this week, and just some guys that we haven't seen get the ball to Anthony Evans some, and more to Dylan Bell as well, and just really just is a great game. I feel like that we could get some momentum built, this offense humming, put some points on the board, man, and then another great opportunity the next week against Mississippi State before a big-time game out in Austin, Texas.
I love it. It's setting up pretty good, honestly.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Absolutely.
All right, let's quickly run through some Week 4 games. Kentucky at Ole Miss, 20-17. We were sitting with a bunch of Alabama fans and the Student Center all watching, pulling together for Kentucky. Adam, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, man. I mean, I picked Kentucky to cover. I didn't think they'd win, but shoot, they were outright run. I'm happy for Mark Stoops. That's his first time winning probably a top 10 game on the road at Kentucky. And the first time. Yeah, I know it is because it's the first time Kentucky's beat a top 10 team on the road since 1977. So long overdue for them, man. I like how their program is conducted by Mark Stoops up there. So congratulations for them. And I love seeing Ole Miss be able to get an L in the loss column, because I think now we're at where we need some SEC teams start beating up on each other, which they will as the season progresses. But glad to see Ole Miss get an L2.
Should Ole Miss just cancel their football program?
They probably should, since they, lost to Kentucky. It's because Georgia needed to when they barely beat Kentucky and they win, right? So at least what the media was telling us.
Yeah. Kentucky's not a bad program.
No, they're
telling
not,
you.
man.
They
they're
play
not.
physical football.
I think Stoops is the perfect guy for a program like Kentucky, and I think Kentucky would be stupid to ever run him away from Lexington.
I'm with you there. Oklahoma State at Kansas State, 20-42. Kansas State, Avery Johnson, they win. Did not watch a single snap of this game.
Yeah, I didn't either, Clark, but I hate that for Oklahoma State. I was kind of pulling for Gundy to go to Manhattan, Kansas. I kind of thought, hey, after they got beat by Utah, after storming back and almost winning that football game in Stillwater the week before, that they would kind of come out and win this game against Kansas State and still stay alive in the Big 12 race, kind of getting that top part of it, but they didn't, and Kansas State, good on them recovering from a tough loss to BYU and Provo, Utah, and looks like, hey, I don't know, that might be a rematch in the Big 12 championships, Kansas State and BYU. It's going to be fun to watch that conference, how it shapes out. I love that conference, and that's one thing with Texas, Oklahoma not in that. It's made it more entertaining in a sense of who is going to come out with the daggum automatic bye and a top 4 seed in the Big 12 now.
Exactly.
I mean, it's great.
Exactly.
And Utah got beat this week.
Did they really?
Didn't they?
Jeez. Yeah, probably.
I think they did. By who was it? Who did Utah get beat by? Utah got beat by somebody. And, I mean, it looked like, so it's just pandemonium now. They got beat by Arizona in Salt Lake City.
Arizona's not a bad team, though.
Yeah,
either.
I think it's going to be very fun to keep an eye on that conference going forward.
For sure. Louisville at Notre Dame. Louisville put up a fight. 31-24, Notre Dame wins. I think we both picked Louisville to upset outright.
I did.
Yeah, but that did not happen. So good on Marcus Freeman, I guess. Louisville's still in the potential, they're still in the conversation. I think they have a good team, but they've got to rebound after this.
Yeah,
they'll drop in the rankings.
Absolutely.
Oklahoma at Auburn, 27-21. Auburn had this game won, I think, up until the pick six at the end.
They did. I mean, I think Auburn, it was a whole lot closer than I thought it would be. And but Oklahoma found a way to win there on the Plains at the end, and I love that.
Yeah. Jackson Arnold will not play another snap again. He got Caleb Williams.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Or,
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
That's what I meant for Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Illinois at number 9, Penn State. I guess Penn State's not number 9 anymore. But anyway, 21-7, Penn State wins.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, whatever.
Okay.
I was hoping Illinois would maybe potentially pull off the upset, but it just looks like they couldn't get the offense rolling, man. And 21-7, hey.
Great.
Awesome.
We didn't watch any of these games. Literally none of them.
Oh, we didn't.
All right.
To have a good college football podcast, Clark, like all around, like the ones who actually do like no bias, like all they do is sit in a room and watch
6
college football
screens.
games all day.
Yeah. And in some sense, that would be really fun to do, but in another,
it takes away from just having that experience of focused on one team, one game.
Yeah, and we can nitpick it.
Yeah.
That's why we make this. We're going to make this fast. Oregon at UCLA, 34-13. Good on Dan Lanning. Win.
Yeah.
That's all you say.
Big test for the Ducks coming up the next couple of weeks with Ohio State coming to Austin Stadium.
True. And then last but certainly not least, week 4 games, Castleton Spartans at the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs. Adam, Castleton got skull dragged 60-10. They got taken to the woodshed. UMass Dartmouth just lit into them. UMD had 660, I'm going to say 7 total yards. It's not 667 actually, but I don't want to say that number. Anyway, to the Spartans, let's see, 194 yards.
Wow.
That's just crazy.
Clark, I called that.
Did you?
Didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I just said I didn't like how Castleton's program was setting up with the in-house hire.
That is true. Yeah. Gosh.
You look at the resume of the head coaches, it just did not look like everything. It just didn't set up right for the environment with Castleton coming into UMass Dartmouth.
Yeah, I was just wishfully thinking Castleton would come in and just pull up the upset of the century, but it just didn't happen.
It didn't. I think that's what I said. UMass Dartmouth.
You did.
Yeah, that's right. Because Castleton, it just didn't bode well. Didn't bode well. But dang, 60-10, that's a statement win.
That is.
For the Corsairs. Good on them.
Good on them. All right, this week's pick 'em. We'll fly through these right quick too. Number 9, Missouri at number 25, A&M, Texas A&M. A&M's favored by 2, 12 o'clock ABC.
Man,
a weird one.
That is a fun one to watch, Clark. Over in College Station, A&M, since they lost Notre Dame week 1, has played some close games. I thought Arkansas was going to beat them last week. Really was pulling for Sam Pittman to pull that off, but they didn't. A&M came back and won that football game. Clark, I think Missouri will win this game.
I do too. I have no idea why A&M is favored. Maybe it's just home field advantage, but 12 o'clock doesn't really seem like a super crazy environment.
And Kyle
Could be
Field,
wrong,
yep.
but hey, Missouri, as long as they can handle that environment, I think they'll be fine. They can still move the football, play good defense. So,
yes.
Yeah, give me Missouri to win that one. Number 12, Ole Miss at South Carolina. Ole Miss is favored by 9 points, 3:30 ESPN.
Wow. Who you got, Clark?
Adam? I cannot believe I'm doing – I can't do this. I think South Carolina covers,
Yeah.
but give me Ole Miss by
All right.
like 4 points.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a 4-quarter game.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in Columbia like that. It's going to be closer than you think. And how's Ole Miss going to react after what happened at home against Kentucky last
Right.
week? So I think that's going to tell a lot about that program of how they come. And then South Carolina, lost a heartbreaker a few weeks back to LSU, and respectable defensive front. Really like their defensive front. So we'll see.
I love it. Number 15, Clemson at Florida State, 7 o'clock ESPN. Clemson is favored by 15 points, Adam.
They'll easily cover.
Yeah, I hate to say it. And honestly, I have no idea how it's just 15. The way Clemson's been putting up points this season, they've really gotten it figured out.
After they scored 3 against Georgia.
I was about to say,
That's
since
right.
they put up a whopping 3 points against Georgia. But, yeah, Clemson, I will say maybe the Florida State contingent rallies together and maybe they can salvage some part of their season.
Maybe.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yep.
Clemson big.
Yeah, big. Like,
God,
they went down to Tallahassee one year during the Trevor Lawrence days and, beat them 60-something to 3 or 10. It could be something like that again.
Very true. And, man, they want it with DJU.
Yeah, you get that factor into it too, man. Yeah, and especially what happened last year, how Florida State won in Clemson last year. You remember watching that game at the tailgate? Yeah,
Oh, man.
I think Dabo's going to go in there. Clemson's feeling really good about themselves, and man, we'll see.
We'll see. All right, number 4, Tennessee at Arkansas, 7:30 ABC, 13.5-point favorites. Tennessee is. I don't know, man. This is one of those games that could potentially be a trap game. The Taylor kid, what's his name? Arkansas's quarterback. He's not a bad football player. Ooh, it's tough to pick against Tennessee, knowing what Tennessee has this year. So give me Tennessee.
And coming off a bye week.
Oh yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, coming off a bie week, and Arkansas just lost a heartbreaker on a neutral site, Texas A&M again. Blew a lead again to Texas A&M. Man, I really want Sam Pittman to do it in Fayetteville, but I think Tennessee's gonna cover.
Tickets this game, I'm not kidding, and this may have just been an anomaly, $1,000.
What?
But I think it's maybe it was just the ticket. But that was like the lowest price ticket you
Really?
could find.
Really?
But that was a week ago, so
Yeah.
it's likely to change. I don't know. I saw that somewhere, and people were freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 10, Michigan at Washington, 7:30 NBC. Washington is favored by 2 points. Who do you got?
This is the most, a rematch of a national championship. You're like, it's the most just
Anticlimactic.
Like, how were they in the national championship last year? Wow, their programs, neither one of the head coaches from the schools are there. Just depleted. Michigan's going to beat Washington, I feel like, but that is going to be a boring football game up in Seattle. Golly.
Whatever the over-under is, just go ahead and take the under. I don't even know.
I agree. I agree with that.
I do think Michigan wins with Alex Orji now at quarterback. They're just going to run the football. It's going to be a quick game.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, I kind of want to watch that one now.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 8, Miami at California, 10:30 ESPN. And the only reason I picked this game is because College Game Day is going to Berkeley, California.
I guess they just wanted an excuse to go to Berkeley, and the slate's just not that great that way. I don't know. California is the only team that Florida State has beat this year.
Gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But Cal beat Auburn. So I don't know, but I think Miami is going to win out in Berkeley. I don't know, man. I mean, it's wild. This is an ACC game. This is a conference game.
Yeah.
I mean, but Cal is going to be a very weird place to play. I mean, Auburn struggled out there last year, and of course got beat by them at home this year. So very cross country trip from Miami coming. So that could be interesting. A lot of emotions. What happened against Virginia Tech at home Friday night? Wild finish there. But I still think Miami Cam Ward win this game out in Berkeley.
I'm going to take California to cover 13, but Miami wins outright.
Yeah.
In just a wild environment, man.
Wild environment.
Like, what do they have to do to get fans to show up to a California game?
They don't.
But what would you do if you're the athletic director? You know what I would do? I would organize some protest of some sort.
I would offer set up some what would you call? Oh man, I'm drawing a mind blank. What do you call the blank like that you paint on?
Canvas.
I would set up some canvases in stadium that you can do some finger painting while watching the game.
Okay. Or have like some books.
Yeah.
Just books.
Some literature out there.
Literature.
I agree. I like it.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, the next game is the game of the week.
Here we go, baby.
All right, we got the University of La Verne Leopards at the University of Redlands Bulldogs.
Wow.
What a matchup.
What a game.
What an opportunity.
What a game.
Both of these teams, Adam, are 0-3 on the season.
Are they so fighting for their first win of the year?
Yes. Both of these teams are in wounded animal alert.
Okay. All right.
Mode.
Yeah,
rather.
that's good. That's good. I like that.
So it's going to be a scrappy
It's going to be a pillow fight.
Whoa.
It's
Adam,
gonna be a pillow
don't
fight.
put it on these
It's going to
things
be
yet.
a pillow fight.
Wow. All right. Well, let's talk about them here. Kickoffs at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
So you really could watch Miami, California, and this game at the same time.
I love that, man. College football all day.
The weather is going to be 93 degrees on game day.
Wow.
Just a scorcher. Stadium is Ted Runner Stadium.
Ted Runner Stadium.
Let me show you Ted Runner Stadium. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
And without knowing the location of these two teams, can you guess where that is right there, that stadium? I'll post a picture on
California.
YouTube. Boom. You got it.
Yeah, palm trees and mountains. That's what gave it away. That's what gave it away.
Yeah, that's true. Good. Yeah, good point there. Both teams are 0-3 on the season. I already mentioned that.
Beautiful
environment. Really pretty. So it's going to be a fun little matchup there. All right, let's start with the Laverne Leopards.
Okay.
They're located in Laverne, California.
Okay.
Their mascot, they're the Leopards. So the name of the mascot, they have two, Leo and Leah. They're called the Leos.
Wow.
You ready for this?
Yes. I like it.
I do too.
I love it, man. I love it. I think the leopard is strong. The colors, whatever, that's fine. But I love A+ on both of them.
Really?
Yeah, I love couple mascots as well. So I mean,
Mr. and Mrs. Albert though, the Gators.
They're at the bottom of the barrel.
Okay.
Not a big fans of them, but for those leopards right there, good on them. I like that.
That is a strong Division III mascot, both of them. Wow. Yeah, they do resemble kind of the Miami colors there.
They do.
But yeah, and I love the detail. I mean, even the eyes, the eyelashes, and everything.
I do too, man. I think the old Miami colors like the '90s, like the starter apparel right there. You know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about what do you think about Leo wearing number 99?
I like that. Just you don't want him to wear like number 7 or something. 99 is a good mascot number. Should be designated for all mascots. Should be 99.
Except Harry Dog, who's number 1.
Yes. But heck, even change Harry Dog to number 99.
Wow.
And just make that just the mascot tradition right there, being number 99.
I love it. Some notable alumni from Laverne is Anthony Zuiker. I think that's how you say it. He's the creator and executive producer of the TV show CSI.
Yeah.
Have you watched CSI?
No, I've heard of it. I've seen previews of it before. I guess it's been around for a while. I know there's different CSIs. There's CSIs New York, CSIs Los Angeles stuff. Looks like a good time. Trying to uncover some crime and everything.
Yeah.
But no, I've not watched CSI before. But that's
Me
cool.
neither. Joseph Ashton is another notable alum of Laverne. He did some voice acting for Rocket Power. If anybody,
yes.
he was
Okay.
Otto from Rocket
All right,
Power. So
all
good
right.
little voice acting there.
That's cool.
Those are the only two people that have any interesting things about them.
Yep.
That graduated from Laverne. Their head coach is Miguel Reveles.
Miguel Reveles. Okay.
So-
All right, then.
Don't know much about Miguel, but
Okay.
he coaches football.
All right.
And they have also lost 2 heartbreakers to open up this season, both that went into double overtime. Back-to-back games to start the season.
Double overtime
Losses. So they are really wanting to
Really
win.
needing to win. Really needing to win, too.
Bless their hearts. Man.
Golly, man. That's rough. That's rough.
So that's a little bit about Laverne. Now let's talk about Redlands. The Bulldogs. They're located in Redlands, California.
Okay.
Their mascot.
Interstate matchup. Yeah.
That's right. Their mascot, Adam. They also have 2. One is a live mascot. One is a costume mascot.
Okay.
Here's the live mascot. His name is George Willis.
Yes. I love it.
Just a good bulldog right
With
there.
his tennis ball right there. Love it, obviously, because we have our own live bulldog, you know. So I like that they're carrying that tradition as well over there. And I like that it's not an English bulldog for them. You know, they're not ripping us off. They're making their own mark with another bulldog.
Right. Yeah. That's a pretty dog right there. I bet that dog gets a lot of attention. I know it has its own Instagram page.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big hit
That's
there
good.
in
That's good.
Redlands.
Good.
Here is their costume mascot.
Okay, then. All right. Not good.
It's not. It reminds God. There's some stuffed animal around here that looks just like that.
It. Yes. Just C+.
Ooh,
C+.
yeah.
C+.
God, I don't like them.
I don't either.
But that's their costume mascot. Notable alumni. Let's see. They've had David Boyes. I'm going to say. He was an attorney who represented the Justice Department in the United States versus Microsoft, and Al Gore in Bush versus Al Gore. So
Glad Wikipedia gave you that fun fact.
yeah.
That's riveting.
Oh, yeah. You never know what you're going to get
That's
with
right.
Game of the Week. And then another notable, Alan Shugart. He's the co-founder of Seagate Technology and floppy disk technology pioneer. Adam, I use Seagate for my hard drives that stores all of the Row 60 content.
Yep.
So shout out to Seagate and Alan for creating
Yes.
the
I love
hard
it.
drives
I
and
love
the
it.
floppy disks.
I love it.
That's some great stuff. Do you remember floppy disks?
I do remember floppy disk.
Yeah. Their head coach is Mike Maynard. He's one of the longest tenured coaches in Division III. So he's got a lot of good history. But man, his seat may be getting a little bit warmer because once again, 0-3.
You can't be one of the longest tenured head coaches and be winless at the end of September.
Yeah. Let me give you one more stat, and then I want to hear your pick on this one. I'm just on the edge of my seat right now.
All right. As you should.
Laverne is 5-15 all time
that just
against
changed me.
Redlands. But they did have a big 31-24 victory last year.
You know what, Clark? That gummit. Give me Laverne again.
Ooh.
Battle tested already. Really wanting to win. I think they want it more. It more. They're playing at their place, right?
They're playing at Redlands.
Oh, no. They're going to go on the road and get
Yes.
a big road win, make a statement win.
Wow.
Not a good history, but swung the series last year.
Right.
Looking to get another. Give me Laverne.
Wow, Adam.
Give me
I did
Laverne.
not see
What
that
about you?
coming.
What about
I thought you were going to be dead set. No, I'm going with the Redlands Bulldogs.
Okay.
I can't pull for a team that doesn't have a Bulldog in its name. So
Good point. I understand that.
give me Redlands.
All right.
And I mean, look at the freaking mascot.
I agree
the
with it.
live mascot.
The live
that is. It's
mascot. I mean,
cute.
just a good looking pup there.
Yep.
Good looking pup. Love it.
Oh, man, good stuff. Well, it has been a long one. Once again, folks, we had to vent tonight. We had to get it off our chest, and it is literally 12:30 a.m.
Is it really?
Monday morning. We got to get to bed. So we're going to wrap this thing up.
Oh,
If you've enjoyed this episode, real quick, leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you haven't done so already. That would be awesome. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. We really appreciate all of you guys subscribing. We're almost
That's
to
right.
1,000. That's kind of our goal for this year.
Yeah.
And if you're not
Tell a friend.
already, tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend about
Tell
Row
a friend
60.
about Row 60.
You have one job this week. Forget about your actual occupation and career.
Right.
Tell one person about Row 60. That'll help us
Exactly
great.
right.
And then, follow us on social media.
Yeah.
At Row60.
Yeah.
So we're all over the place.
Love it.
All right, score prediction versus Auburn this week, 3:30 ABC. That feels sacrilegious. Normally, this is a 3:30 CBS. It's been that way for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, forever.
But,
Except 2012 when Auburn was god-awful and we played them at night.
That's true. ESPN, right?
Yep,
Something like that.
ESPN.
Oh, man. Well, Adam, I'm feeling good about this week. A lot better than last week, obviously. But give me the Dogs 38.
There we go, baby.
To 6.
38-6. Okay.
I said 38-10, but I'm going with 38-6.
All right, I like that. I'm right there with you, Clark. Man, it's time to just get this bad taste out of our mouth, kind of get used to having a regular season loss again for the first time since the COVID year, which we said don't count. So really, since we lost South Carolina in 2019, man. So what a blessing that's been to even be able to say that. But no better opponent than to rebound against the Auburn Tigers. The hate, hey, forget Alabama. Forget what happened, man. Get that glass half full approach. Pour your cup of coffee in the morning and like, man, I got a glass half full of coffee right there. That's going to be the mantra this week because Georgia's going to come out playing ferocious football, man. They're going to come out slinging it on offense against a historic rival like Auburn. Get your Auburn hate ramped up because it does not matter where their program is, where we're at. Auburn hate, man, we get to play them one time out of 365 days. So enjoy it. Leading up to this week, back home at Sanford Stadium, month of October is here. It's crunch time, man, and let's see what this Georgia football team does the rest of the year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Who knows what's going to happen, Clark, but we'll be here for it. Georgia's going to win this football game 41-10, baby.
Yes.
Go Dogs!
Go Dogs.